Welcome everyone. Welcome to Tech Talk Friday. And today we have a fantastic show again. Today we have actually an incredible guest. We have a guy who actually managed to build one of the biggest companies in the world in his space, Kamarul, who'll be joining us shortly on Tech Talk Friday. And I'm here today with Karamjit Singh, who's going to be joining us shortly. And we're going to talk technology, and all things technology. Just to kick off this segment, just before we start, I'm gonna just show you a short clip we have on Nicole, which is our sponsor, and it's gonna be in Greek. So this is for our European viewers in Greek. Here's Nicole in Greek. Enjoy.
Έλα, τι κάνεις? Θυμάσαι προχτές που μου έλεγες ότι ήθελες να μάθεις πώς να γίνεις καλύτερη στη δουλειά σου? Βρήκα την τέλεια λύση! Ναι, σήμερα το πρωί άκουσα για μια καινούρια app, ονομάζεται Nicole. Πρέπει να πας στο διαδίκτυο, να την κατεβάσεις και μετά βρίσκεις άρθρα, podcast, βίντεο, ό,τι θέλεις από διάφορους ειδικούς σε όλο τον κόσμο και τα βλέπεις όλα στο κινητό σου. Ναι, πρέπει να πας στο digital.leaderonomics.com και να κατεβάσεις την app. Και μετά μπορούμε να μαθαίνουμε μαζί, ναι. Οκ, καλά. Πρέπει να πάω όμως τώρα, με περιμένουν. Άντε, θα σε δω στην app, Οκ, γεια. Πού έμεινα τώρα?
And so once again, welcome to Tech Talk Friday. I'm here with Karamjit Singh. So Karam's in the studio. Karam, welcome to the show. Glad to have you at the show. And today we have a very special guest, right? You wanna say something about our guest?
Sure. I guess what is interesting about Kamarul is that in my 2 decades of covering technology news, 2 decades sounds shorter than 20 years last. So 2 decades, only 2.
Makes you sound old, Karam.
2 decades, but I have never covered a Malaysian homegrown technology company which has ranked in the top 5 of its category on a global basis. So really, Aerodyne was the first first to do that, and it's still only like a 5-year-old company, and he's just going trailblazers, right? Guns blazing, expanding to new markets. And I was joking with Kamarul that I almost need to hire a full-time editor just to follow what Aerodyne is doing, because they're moving so fast. But then herein also lies a bit of a concern with me, because you're expanding so fast. Are you expanding too fast now? Because you overextend yourself, and then suddenly at some point maybe cash flow hits you, right? And that could be a disaster. And we actually saw that happen in Malaysia with iFlix. Right, so iFlix, was expanding rapidly like crazy, and trying to raise money as they were expanding to show that, look, we're in 30 countries, we're in 200 countries, 500 countries. According to our Minister of Health, right, we've got 500 countries in the world, something like that. So, so that's my concern. But the good thing is, Kamarul actually he's a finance guy. So we worked with PwC before in England after graduating. So maybe that's mitigating it. So it'll be interesting to hear his thoughts on whether on my concern about whether he's overextending himself in his rush to just go and grab market share. But it's interesting, and Kamarul's background also is good, because he's not like your typical startup entrepreneur. You're in your you're below 30 years old, which means that you have less experience in managing and dealing with people, right, and managing tough times and all that. So
I think we've talked a lot about Kamarul. Let's bring the man to the show, man. Enough of Karam talk. Let's welcome Kamarul into Tech Talk. Kamarul, welcome to Tech Talk Friday.
Hey guys.
Glad to have you here with us.
My pleasure. An honor to be here.
And I got to keep Karam to time, because Karam can ramble along and talk. The introduction itself was 4 minutes 43 seconds.
Really?
But I think you're a distinguished enough guest that we have to give you a bit of recognition in terms of a lot of the things that you've done. Karam, we want to get up and running. Shall we start
like I said, Kamarul already was hearing what I said about him, right? So maybe Kamarul, I actually shared with listeners my concern that you are expanding so fast. Are you in danger of expanding too fast and your cash flow cannot catch up? And that was what happened to Patrick and iFlix, right? So it ended up having to do a fire sale to Tencent. So but I said that I was reassured by the fact that you're a finance guy also, and guys like you are normally very cautious. So, but your rapid expansion doesn't gel with your nature of being cautious. But of course, entrepreneurs are aggressive anyway. So, how do you sync with that? And then, of course, talk us through your expansion over the last week with you're in 3 countries now in the space of like 10 days.
Well,
And I cannot ask you where else you're going. I cannot keep up.
right. Well, the announcement of the 3 countries came within the space of less than 10 days. But actually, I can assure you the work of that, of those, entry, happened over the past couple of months already. It just so happens that, it's let's just release this news now, basically. Right. So it's a lot of hard work that has gone into it as well. So in terms of, let me just immediately answer your concern just now, right? Yeah, actually, cash flow wise, we are very strong right now. I mean, we have a runway that can extend us more than 2 years right now, actually.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, so all of these rapid expansion is well according to our plan. This is something that we have been planning since 18 months ago. This is part of our Series B expansion when we fundraise. So all is running according to plan, with the exceptions of COVID-19. Right? Nobody would have thought of that. In fact, most of these, the last 3, or I think the last 4 was closed within during the pandemic period. Right? So anyway, so these are all very calculated strategy. It's not like we go out gun blazing and just shooting away. Right? This is planned. We are very comfortable about this. But of course, you see, our strategy is to do 2 things, right? Our strategy is to basically to gain market share. So we are very aggressive going all over the world. And to answer your question just now, actually we have 5 more in the pipeline.
Okay, yeah. Make sure you give to DNA first, but I'll be on Grace and your head of comms case.
Okay. We have 5 more in the pipeline, and 2 of it will be announced in the near term. Right?
Wow.
We are at the final stage of 2 of it right now, actually, as well. So we are hoping to close all these 5 before the year end as well, actually. Right.
Okay,
so
very interesting.
It's all part of the plan. Of course, you're absolutely right about resource. I see at the moment, the challenge for us is twofold, right? We always joke within the organization is that we are in the Roman chariot race, right? One of the horse is actually the business development side, and also all the expensive work that we are doing, which is running very, very fast, right? On the other hand, actually the technology development side, which is the other horse, right? So these 2 horses must be running at the same speed, otherwise we will tumble, right? So we have actually been putting significant energy for both of the horses, basically. So,
okay, interesting. So Roshan, one more question. So your approach, I think the reason why you've been able to scale globally so fast also is your strategy in allowing entrepreneurs in other countries to get a piece of this runaway train, or not runway, this accelerating train that is Aerodyne, right? So everybody wants to hitch their wagon onto you. So that's why the way you expand is to do like a joint venture, right? You take a particular stake, and do you still try to take a majority stake, or you're comfortable with below 50%, and later there's in the contract that's built in, if certain KPIs are reached, you take a simple majority or whatever? How do you do that?
Well, all of them we take controlling stake. So all of them we will be able to consolidate. A minimum of 51%. There are those that we go up to as high as 80%, right? So for us, revenue consolidation is very, very important. But a little bit to your appreciation of our strategy. You are absolutely right? For us, all of these international global partners. You see, a lot of companies out there doing drone services, right? But what they lack in most cases is that they do not have the data platform, the analytics, which is our core strength. right? So when we enter into any market, we look for a compatible partner. I mean, that's also another story that we can talk about.
Yeah.
Right? So finding the compatible partner is quite a bit of an effort. But once we find one, then we can see synergy both ways. I mean, the idea is actually to build and grow the local partners as well.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we come across these global partners, international partners. They've actually already hitting their limit in terms of resources that they have.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
In terms of the technology that they have and all that, right? So when we come in, we can plug that gap. We can bring the tech. We can actually even inject some fund into the company, so they come to the company. So it's a win-win for both sides. So it allows them to tap on our technology, and of course they open the market for Aerodyne as well. So it's one.
Okay.
Kamarul, I'm just curious in the early days, right? Because I know you have some scale now, and you've got a bit of capital behind you. You've got cash flow. I mean, you've got things going for you today, right? But when you first started out, right, what were some of the challenges? I do know that to some extent Malaysia was a very tough market for you, right? And you had to basically get out of Malaysia to get back in, right?
Get out and come back.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm reading your story. It's inspiring because a lot of people will be like, Malaysia's been nasty to me, and as a country, it's not been a good market, and they give up, right? But you took a decision to, let's go to the world and make myself, and I've seen entrepreneurs like that. I met a telco entrepreneur who's from Zimbabwe, was kicked out of Zimbabwe, went to all the other countries in Africa. Today is the biggest telco across Africa, right?
Wow.
I think you're similar, right? In terms of your approach. Tell us what what was going on in your mind, and how did you overcome some of these odds, and how did you win in the end? Your story is actually.
Well, I think Roshan, Karamjit, you all know this. Running an entrepreneurship, I mean a startup, is incredibly hard, right?
Absolutely.
There's always challenges. There's always problems that you need to solve along the way. Building teams, which is building the right team is another big challenge. And I'm very happy now that after 5 years we have a very, very strong team. So things that I'm feeling very, very good about this. And building the team was the most difficult part, right? And when we started with just 1 million ringgit capital. We bootstrap ourselves along the way, and of course it was tough in the beginning. It was even tougher because I did not have a good co-founder at that time. I had a co-founder at that time, but it wasn't the right one. So it was a very difficult decision. And again, finding the right partner, finding the right people in the team would be instrumental to get things happen, right? So we had to make difficult decisions. We have to part company, right? And we slog away. I mean, I don't want to be talking about the differences, but the whole idea is that in any organization, it's all about passion, right? I mean, if you want to be successful, you need to have passion. You need to have clear vision of where you want to go, right? And this passion is needed because you will face a lot of problems, right? And it's all about solving one problem after another continuously, right? And if you don't have passion, if you don't have clarity of where we wanted to go, we would have given up along the way. And I can tell you, we would have, in our history of 5.5 years now, we have at least 4 or 5 inflection points where if we did not do the right thing, that's the end of us, right?
So talk us through 1 or 2 of those inflection points. I know in Intel, Andrew Grove writes about the 10x moments, right? The moments where that decision will either accelerate you or will send you to your doom, right? Talk us through 1 or 2 of those moments,
Right. Okay. Well, to be honest with you, our vision became clearer as time goes by, right? When we first started, we were doing something else, and then we started to realize, hey, the market needed something else. Then we pivot again, right? Then we needed again. Then we realized something else again. So along the way, we always talk internally like, this is like playing games. You reach your level, and then you have the end of your level. You have to kill the boss. You kill the level boss, and you progress to the next level. And that's essentially our story, right? So in the beginning, we couldn't afford
So you pivoted into a drone as a service sort of organization, essentially.
Well, those were drone as a service was like 3 years ago. Now we are a DT3. Right. Now we are drone tech, data tech, and digital transformation. That's our DTQ.
Wow. Okay.
So at every step of the way, it's all about delivering different level of solutions to our client. So we would then find ourselves needing to handle multidisciplinary skill sets within the organization. So that was tough as well. There were one of the inflection points was finding the right people. We gained traction. There's so much to deliver. Business were growing, and we couldn't find the right people. To be honest, we couldn't grow fast enough. But we solved it. Of course, not really. There were many sleepless nights. I think for many sane person, they would have given up at that time. But we were very focused about this, and then we keep solving problems.
And I think that's a key ingredient of entrepreneurs, right? I mean, you will have obstacles. It's how you plow through all of them and get it done. Dato' Nur Manaf congratulates you, Kamarul. Dato' Nur Manaf from Maybank. Well done for getting back in, Kamarul, and congratulations on your successes. It's all about how we get up when we stumble or fall.
Absolutely, yes.
I tend to agree, right? I mean, and this is the hard part, right? This is something you cannot teach, right? You can teach all the skills of entrepreneurship and so on, but to be able to have the inner desire to succeed and to fight regardless of the odds, I think that's a tough one.
Absolutely, that's right.
Yeah, Karam.
No, I think your inflection points are interesting, Kamarul. You said there were fewer talent. Everybody comes to it, but what was like if you can, and I think what you said is interesting. It's how you respond and the decisions you make when you hit these inflection points. Most people won't use the word inflection point, but I was telling Roshan, because you have already been in business for a long time and you're in accounting, right? In the UK, you're working on big companies, so you had an insight into
that's my previous life, Karam.
Correct. But that gave you exposure.
Karam likes to bring stories from everywhere and weave it together.
Because that gave him
some patterns.
No, that gave him insight into how corporations work also, and sometimes decisions have to be made. So that's the benefit you bring to the table. All entrepreneurs bring their history, right? Their experience, and you had that, and I think that has helped you also. And that's why when you've seen big businesses, right, that inspire you, right? Hey, I also want to be big. And talking about inspire, when we had Jinzi from Polodrone on, he was very complimentary of you, and then you have become like the godfather of the drone ecosystem here, and everybody aspires to want to be like you. If you were Singaporean, nobody here would be inspired. They say, easy lah, Singapore, first world country lah, blah blah blah. But a fellow Malaysian can do that, and it inspires them to work double hard because they are trying to catch up to you. And in that sense, I know you didn't mean to, but you have set an incredible bar and an inspiring bar also, which people are aspiring to. So that's why the drone players here, if you cannot be very good from day one, no point getting in, because the bar is so high now. And that is the beautiful thing about what you have done, consciously or not consciously, and it's great.
And Karam, you make a very good point, because I think Kamarul,
I always make good points.
Sometimes Karam just talks whatever, right? But anyway, today, I think the point is this: every industry needs a pace setter, and somebody to set world-class standards. And Kamarul, by Aerodyne trying to conquer the world and somewhat succeeding, right? To show that, hey, actually we have opportunity. The world is our marketplace. Don't just sit in Malaysia and be happy and be a jago kampong like many of our businesses out here. But to really go out there and win in the workplace in the world market, because we can. And you set the bar to say that yes, we can.
Yeah.
And it's important. Okay, this is not about us talking about our insights, it's about getting insights from Kamarul. So Kamarul, I'm going to ask you, if you were to give advice to entrepreneurs starting out, right? What should they be looking at? What should they be thinking about, especially tech or technology related entrepreneurs?
Well, I would say that I think successful entrepreneurs or successful companies are all about empowering others, right? If you look at any solutions, like even our solution, it's about empowering companies. It's about empowering individuals. It's not about tech. Don't make it about tech. Tech is actually the tools to empower others, right? And that's also the reason why we kept pivoting. In the beginning, we made a lot of mistakes as well. I mean, because I'm a drone geek, so I love drones. I would do things which I thought is nice, but at the end of the day, no, it is nice. But when you're running a business, it's about solving problems. It's about empowering others. It's about empowering organizations. And we always have to rethink that, because the market changes sometimes faster than the tech as well. I mean, that's why I said I've actually pivoted 3-4 times, basically. I think that's the number one. I would say advice, but the second one is really to have that clear vision. You must have vision, because
and I think we talk about the clarity of vision, right? The clarity of how to get things done, and how to move your and which begs the question. I think Dato' Nora asked another question. What is your business footprint actually, and your kind of game plan, I guess.
Right. So we are in 35 countries now. We are 400 people around the world, 250 in Malaysia. We have completed 6 M&A and JVs around the world. Some of these countries we enter directly, and we have 5 more coming within this year. Hopefully, we are working hard towards that. And we are currently ranked number 3 by Drone Industry Insights. And that was 2019, right? Since 2019, we have acquired the number 6 and the number 12.
And I think you have to tell us the story about how you cracked India, because from what I heard, working with the police, I think that's an amazing story just to share how resourceful and clever you are, right, to some extent, to crack the Indian market. You want to share that story, Kamarul?
Sure. I mean, one fine day we were looking at the future market forecast, and we realized, hey, China is going to be the world number 1. World number 2 is going to be India, and then number 3 could well be Indonesia, So we said, hey, and then we decided, this was 2 years ago, that we decided that.
And the good thing is we are smack in the middle of all 3, right?
Yeah. And then we decided that we need to work ourselves up, and we need to be in all these up and coming market, right? We need to be there, right? So your question was about India, and we went through 3 or 4 potential different partners until we settled on the current one. And I think we found ourselves a gem in India. Our partner is the Indorama Group, right? Indorama is one of the owner of Indorama, Sophie Prakash Lohia. He's one of the top 10 billionaire, and he's actually already linking us up to all the various big organizations over there, all the big.
I need to sit down with you one day, man.
Believe it or not, we met our partner from India in Tokyo, in Japan. So we have a mutual acquaintance, and they got intrigued with what we do. And seriously, 2 days later, he flew from New Delhi to Tokyo, and we met in Tokyo for the first time, actually. And then we shake hands over dinner. We came back, and I flew to Delhi, and a couple of months after that, we seal our collaboration.
So it's the local partner, and when you bring up Japan, Roshan, I think it's important because your philosophy also. When I did one of the early interviews with you, you spoke about your Hayai Yasui and something, right? You were inspired by a Japanese food chain's slogan, and you adapted it to your business philosophy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, but I think this is, the Japanese food is just a nice story. But I think any when you do digital transformation, it's all about delivering a solution that makes sense. And what makes sense is something that is faster, better, cheaper, and safer. So that's the Haya, Yasui, Umay, and Anzen. We added Anzen subsequently. Right?
Anzen.
So
Okay. No,
the Anzen is not unzen yourself, unpeace yourself,
UNZEN. Oh, okay.
Anzen, yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
But how we stumbled upon it was we were walking in Japan, and I saw the very first restaurant of Yoshinoya, and there's some Japanese scribbles on this. I asked my colleague, what does it say? It says faster, but I mean it's like delicious and all that, but it's translated. It can also be faster, better, cheaper. Hey, that's a good one. Let's adopt that as our mantra. Kind of thing.
Fantastic. No, it's good. And you made that a core philosophy of your early growth. Now you've added, Anzen. So you keep raising the bar. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
And I think this is also important.
Go ahead, Kamarul.
Yeah, sorry. This is also, I mean, not something for me, but what this is important is actually for my team, for my Aero Rangers. Okay, so I think when we want to pursue a vision, the clarity for the team members is very, very important, and that philosophy is the why of what we are doing, right? It's not the why or the how or the what. So I think the main thing that we are trying to do is that to make sure that all team members understand the why of what we do. What we want to, the why is actually about solving world problem, about making sure that we deliver solutions in a way that is faster, better, cheaper, take away human from doing a mundane, dangerous and mundane work.
And there's a lot of congratulations coming. Hazel says well done, Kamarul, and I think there are many others that are equally kind of happy and kind of rejoicing with your success. We're gonna take a quick short break right now, and we'll get back very shortly. So just a quick short break right now. We're gonna jump in on a short little video on Nicole, and we'll be right back in about a minute or so. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Tech Talk. Today we have Kamarul in the house from Aerodyne, and I'm going to get him back in the studio in a second. But some key lessons that we've learned from him, I think, is have a clarity of vision. I think it's very important for entrepreneurs to be very clear of where you want to go, and then be relentless to trying to execute that plan in terms of getting into that vision. Kamarul, welcome back to the studio, and it's amazing to have you in the house. And I'm going to actually bring back Karam, because Karam million other questions that he wants to drill you on tonight. So I'm going to give Karam his 5 minutes of passion to kind of continue the drilling session. So Karam, go ahead and let's zoom in a little bit more into the secrets of what makes Kamarul and Aerodyne tick.
I think he has actually already brought it up, right? Being able to recognize when there are key points where you have to make major decisions, right? Talent not good enough. Do you stay loyal to the team and say, hey, I try to improve a bit? Or do you say, I need to bring in people because, we need people with better exposure, skill set to drive the business to the next level without worrying about hurting feelings? And that's why the communication part becomes important. And sounds like you've done a very good job there. And I think for me, your inflection point also, Kamarul, was when this American drone company agreed for you to take a majority stake in them. I mean, this is one of the, I can count on the fingers of one hand when Malaysian technology companies have taken over an American technology company. And that really, I think, brought you to the attention of everyone else around the world also. And I think being brought to the attention of the American players also is very important. And that to me was the real game changer when I say, hey, this guy can not just go global. We've got companies that are going global, but you can win also. You can be top of the world, and that was exciting for me to see. And then you've kept that relationship, because I think when you partner with people the way you do, right, and when you go to another country, like you went into Canada, I think and you're always partnering with entrepreneurs in the existing markets, right? they will ask the other guys who you've taken, you've partnered with, right? Hey, is this guy a good guy to work with? Does he give you space to grow, make mistakes, and does he support you? And I know the results have come back, yes, because otherwise you wouldn't have been able to create these joint venture partnerships in other countries also. So that's one of those subtle things you don't learn. How do you manage that? And you've done that very well.
I think, Kamarul, I like to zoom in on that part about the US acquisition, because I think that's, not many people know that Aerodyne has acquired a company, a majority of a big US
Those who
drone.
read DNA know lah.
Huh? Yeah, those who read
Those who
DNA.
read DNA know.
Then again, but Kamarul, talk us through that experience, because it's so amazing, right? That a Malaysian company acquired a majority stake in the US big drone organization, making you and catapulting you to a big player in the world, right? I mean, essentially, that acquisition catapulted you to a significant, shareholding of the market, right? Talk us through that a little bit, because I think that's very interesting for all of us.
Well, I mean, for us, every M&A that we conducted, we don't view this as, us acquiring another company, right? I mean, it's actually more of us collaborating, more of us finding synergy between the two of us, right? So it's always a very friendly, it's always a win-win kind of a situation. I do not think that we have ever closed a deal where it is one-sided. So to me, the principle of being fair to our partners is a very important one as well. Yeah, because for us, this is about going in on a long-term basis. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as far as if you want to talk about measure, yeah, I mean that happened in December. It took us 3-4 months to went through the process. They had another options as well. Actually,
they
had another option, so it was not a one-to-one kind of thing. But what was very interesting that I would like to tell the story here today is that Malaysia was my inspiration. When I started the company, they were already running, so I look up to them. That was 5 years ago, and then to me, 5 years later, when this M&A happened, it was like it's an amazing feeling.
It was a big high.
Yeah. So 5 years ago, we were like looking at their website, seeing, getting inspirations at what they did. I mean, there were some amazing stuff that they were doing as well. You see, but I think the real the advantage that we have is that we bootstrap our way, right? So because of that, we have that intrinsic strength that allow us to go to plow through all the challenges. Whereas a lot of companies, especially the Americans or the Europeans, they are flush with fun. They're getting busy, all right? So as a result, the way they run their operations is very different to the way we run the business, right? So we are very cognizant, we are very sensitive, we are cognizant of the fact that, this is something that we need to be building long-term relationship with the right one. And I can tell you, there's a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of people in Malaysia. We have this thing called PhD, the Pakar Hasad Dengki, and this is everywhere as well, So we have a fair share of that, but it doesn't budge us. We don't care. We just smile at them.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, if you are not strong enough. I know a lot of people get bothered. A lot of people sort of throw in the towel because it can get incredibly hard at times. I still remember. I mean, in the early days, I would be the first one to arrive at the office at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. I would be the last one to leave at 10, 11, 12 o'clock. These days, I still wake up at 4 o'clock every single day because that's when the other side of the world starts work. But my pressure is now less because I have a very strong team now. I have a very strong C-suite. I have very strong VPs and SVP level, and then I think I'm very fortunate to have them. Fortunate, yes, but it took us the best part of 2.5 years to have this A team. I would say this A team to put in place, and there's a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of mistakes made. In the past, I wasn't very good at reading people. I made a bad decision about hiring the wrong person as well. But over time, we get, and over time, I think we are getting better and better about that as well. And that helps.
Sorry. No, go ahead. No, so there's a lot of congratulation messages coming from Ravi, from Dato Munira, Loy, who's congratulations, and everyone's excited. But I think you talked about team, and one question I think that's interesting is about the partner or the team, right? I mean, selecting. What are some of the things that work for you in your consideration? What are things that you're thinking about? Whether it's selecting the right partner or whether it's hiring the right person, right? What are some of your considerations?
Well, to me, the most important thing is passion and compatibility, right? I mean, we have people who are very talented, very, very talented. But if you do not have passion, if you're not, if you're not ambitious, you can't be pushing people every single day. I mean, this is something that you want people to come in, and that's what they wanted to do as well. And even right now, Roshan, right? I mean, we just announced our long-term incentive plans, basically, right? So, I mean, that the kind of reward that the team members can walk away as and when we IPO is actually most people can only dream of. So it's a very significant.
I'm joining you guys, right?
Come. We need good people. But the point is, in the past, hiring hardworking people, just purely hardworking doesn't work as well. I mean, you get burned out. We hire incredibly good people, but no passion also does not work as well.
Wow.
So we've learned. In fact, I was just reading yesterday, last night. Something came on my feed on Facebook. A story of Jeff Bezos and he was talking about he has made $1 billion mistakes throughout his lifetime.
Yes.
$1 billion, right? Yeah. So then that gives me a little bit of peace. So I can see very well. So I had my fair share of mistakes too, and of course some of the mistakes actually getting the wrong people in the organization, and that became a baggage. And I think being Asian, we are also very, very nice as well. It's actually a very difficult thing. But of course, now we are going to be very different now. I mean, at the end of the day, people are the most important thing for any organization. But if you don't have the right one, it can be the biggest baggage as well. So,
and Kamarul, to zoom in on that partner, right? Like the US partner, your partner in India and so on, right? Just to get a sense. I mean, are there specific things that you're looking for in terms of finding the right partner, or is it more of chemistry and values and
international partner? Is it? All right. Yeah. So I think compatibility is the important one, right? I mean, there are some really interesting partners that we have explored before, but at the end of the day, we walk away from the deal because we do not see that this can work, and I think primarily also stem from our deep mission of actually doing this in a fair manner. In actually making a real change to the world, and it is not just really about making money, and you can sense that when you talk about to some people are really just about making quick bucks. You acquire them and then they make money and then that's it, right? But there are people who share our vision. So our vision, we still have a long way to go, and there's still a lot more problems for us to solve along the way,
Sure.
So I think compatibility in terms of mindset. Compared to how they see things, I think that's the most important thing.
And maybe we'll close up one final question from Dato Munira, who asked, collaboration is the way to go, but what are some of the pitfalls to take note of? I guess in your journey, you must have learned a lot of lessons. So you talked about clarity, you talked about people, hire the right people. So those are some things to take note of. What are other pitfalls that you need to be aware of?
Okay, before you take the sorry, Kamarul, before you take, I got to go. My team is waiting for me, so I don't want them to wait too long, right? So it's fantastic talking to you, and then we will do the recap, news recap of the highlights next week, because you were the highlight of this week then, okay? Take care, all the best, okay?
All right, bye-bye to Karam, and saying goodbye to Karam for now, but just to close up today's section, what are some of the pitfalls that you went through and that we can learn from you?
Well, I think, again, actually, I've already answered it just now. Finding the right partner. I mean, we have had 2 or 3 cases where we found ourselves in a position where we realized, holy cow, we realized later that this is not the right partner for us, and we went through a difficult process of parting companies, parting ways. But you have to do what you have to do, right? I mean, you can't carry baggage in your organization, right? Luckily, we are very prudent. There's always a pre-designed escape clause for us to exit. So that's actually maybe perhaps something that I can share. So far, any exit that we have done has always been not at a loss for us. We are very
And that is
prudent.
something like it's something like a prenuptial that you do in a legal term.
Yeah, it's a prenup. It's sometimes very uncomfortable, but we have to do that prenup stuff basically. But
And
I think
you always do that upfront now. So that's such a good best practice.
correct. I mean, it's better that you fight before you sign rather than you fight after you sign on the dotted line. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's I think that's very wise advice. So, as we wrap up the show, what would be one final advice you want to leave with all of us?
One final advice. Well, I've given most of it, but I think for fellow entrepreneurs, just keep going and basically ignore the naysayers. You can say French you in your mind, if that makes you feel better, but just ignore. If you make something significant, you can't please everybody, right? I mean, just ignore them and then just go ahead and do your stuff. I think you are bound to come across that kind of situation.
All right, Kamarul, thanks so much for this engaging 45 plus minutes. It's been a very, very enlightening evening for all of us. From Challenge the Fun, some great insights from you, especially I think the legal framework to be able to do that business cleanup. So I think the clarity of vision is very important for people. I think all of us as entrepreneurs, we struggle with getting the right people and ensuring that we hire right. And I think and people are saying excellent last point. And a lot of great enjoyed reviews and experiences from local folks, right? So I think it's been a really exciting time. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. Wish you all the best. And
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
absolutely, it's been a Tech Talk for you this Friday. Next week again will be another exciting Tech Talk Friday that will come back. Look forward to having all of you join us again next Friday at Tech Talk Friday. Signing out for now. This is Roshan Kamarul from Aerodyne. Thank you again, and goodbye everyone. Have a super weekend ahead. All the best. Happy weekend.